Good afternoon, everybody. Welcome back for those of you who are with us this morning, and welcome to those of you who are joining us new. We are ready to kick off the Tech4Eva Opening Ceremony. For Roche and for InnoLab specifically, this is a very important event, and it's very close to heart. If you were with us this morning, you might have heard about the InnoLab's ambition into the focus area of women's health, and especially into partnering up with the external ecosystem. And why is it important to partner up with the external ecosystem? Well, the challenges, such as women's health, are too big to tackle by a group within Roche, by Roche alone as a company. That's why it's important that we partner and work together beyond just a corporation to tackle such a challenge. We are going forward with initiatives such as Women's Femtech in June and Roche Startup Day in September, but especially about the collaboration today with Tech4Eva. Now, before I pass the word forward to those of you who will guide you throughout this conference today, just a few words of advice. Being in Roche, this comes with a certain number of policies that need to be followed, especially with regards to pictures. There will be pictures being taken today and may be used for communication internally and externally. If you wish to refrain from being shown in any of these pictures, you can reach out to Simone at the email shown on the screen. Please do not take personal pictures on the premises, and have your phones on silent during the event. Without further ado, as I mentioned, I will now pass over to those who will be with you for the rest of the ceremony. I would like to invite on stage Johannes Brie, Program and Incubator Manager at EPFL Innovation Park, and Anna Söderlid, Head of Innovation at Group Mutual.
Thank you so much, Gabby, and thank you all for being here today with us for the opening ceremony of Tech4Eva 2023. As said, my name is Anna, and I'm very happy to see so many of you today, especially knowing that the weather this morning was not the best to come by public transport, and also thank to all of you connecting online. I would like to start this whole afternoon with a little bit of a personal anecdote. And during the first lockdown of COVID in 2020, I didn't have to commute to work anymore. And so I put all my usual commuting time into reading about women's health. And the more I read, the more I learned, the more frustrated I got. I was like, why are we not doing more? Why haven't we come further? I mean, as a society, as an insurance company, me personally, why am I not doing more? So I started to do, and I started to talk. And very quick, I got very good support from my employer, and that was the start of what is Tech4Eva today. So what I want to say with that is that in 3 years, let your crazy ideas out, because it started with just an idea, but thanks to the great teamwork that we've had, I mean, between Group Mutual and the EPFL Innovation Park, we really managed to move things. And today, 3 years later, it's a big day, because now we also have Roche in the back joining the movement, and we all kind of unify all for women's health. So that's what I want to send with you as messages when we're going to finish the day for the networking drinks later on. Like, start sharing your ideas, because who knows where them will be in 3 years with the right team. So that's my first message. And I mean, Johannes, you are really an expert of the program for today. So could you tell us more? What's on the agenda?
Yeah, absolutely. So thank you, everybody, for letting us presenting today this Tech4Eva conference. So we have a program of pitch from startups. We have a program with keynote speakers, a panel discussion around Femtech. But some of you might wonder, what is Femtech? So Femtech represents a movement of all the tech solutions related to improve the women's health, basically, and help them thrive. So that's why we have this program today. You will hear the 16 pitches from the selected startup that will attend this acceleration program. And yeah, again, thank you all for being here online and in physical here at Roche in Basel. And we have about 400 people joining also online. And so Anna, tell me, we have also two interesting speakers to present, right?
We have two, we have even far more than two, but let's start with the two first ones. So now we're gonna have the chance to listen to Valerie Hepp that has really been bringing innovation through the Roche portfolio through M&A and in and out licensing transactions, as well as Luca La Porta that is leading the personalized healthcare ecosystem solution. So before they are joining on the stage, I would like that we do kick off with a quick video.
For far too long, women have been overlooked in healthcare. Women can take years longer, wait years longer to get the correct diagnosis. Today, women are still not equal to men in research and its funding. Because science has too often seen men as the default human. We can no longer wait. It's time to close the gap and change the facts in women's health. X Project.
Well, Luca, we start our event with a very poignant movie, I thought. This, we can't miss the message. I mean, the message is very clear. Women don't have the same access to healthcare. Women take longer to get diagnosed. Women take much longer to get treatments. And it's a huge inequality gap. And well, Roche started last year a project to put a spotlight on exactly those issues, and it's the X project that you have seen on the video. Because it's important for us to have a look at it, and it's important as a company to have a call to action for all of us to try to close that tragic gap. And today, we're very happy to be here on this Tech4Eva event, as it's a collaboration with the EPFL and also with the Groupe Mutuel, because we want together support companies that are also contributing to closing this gap. Luca, tell me from your side.
From my side, so why I'm here. And I mean, it's clear that the gap was and still exists. Definitely, we have seen here, and that's the reality. And this gap is not just in healthcare, it's not just in this topic we are touching today, is in general. I think there are missing opportunities. If you go back even to history and look at arts, for example, in music, how many composers you might know from classical music. And you know, maybe Clara was mainly the wife of, instead of being a great piano player. You can spot it out. What's the last name of this Clara? And you say, oh, wow, I know his husband. I don't know her. And she was writing a lot of the music related there. So I think it's interesting, this point. And when you relate it more to science, if you think also for the Nobel Prize, it had been established in 901, and almost till today, 1,000 Nobel Prizes have been given. Only 61 went to women. And in medicine, out of 225 Nobel Prize, only 12 have been given to women. So that's clear that it's hard to be at the same stage if you have this underrepresentation of a female in the context of science. And I think what is interesting right now is also to see how I was chatting yesterday with the colleagues here about the STEM, right? Science, technology, engineering, mathematics. Because if you don't close the gap starting with the education, it's hard to give the same opportunity to get Nobel Prize. So we really need to address and touch this topic from the part of education, giving the same opportunity, having sure that we have the right representation since the beginning. We can go over during the discussion what is next, but that is my first thinking. What's about you, Valerie?
Well, maybe I ask you another question because I realize we haven't presented ourselves yet. So maybe you want to say a few words about yourself.
Yeah, I mean, yes, I work in a PhD real world data ecosystem, and I have 3 daughters that actually they told me to take this picture out because they say, hey, you look like a kind of serial killer there, so maybe it's better if you can get a better picture there. What I do in my job is to try to accelerate the way we bring together partners to generate evidence on the healthcare space. That's really the main area of the focus. And when we want to do this is for the ecosystem of healthcare that start with doctors, physicians, patients, institutions, research centers, startups. All of the stuff needs to come together to improve the quality of life of people. And I have the privilege, actually, to work in this space for this company, and I have the privilege to be here today and working with you to look forward what we might do. Say that I also have a very personal attachment, and I was thinking, share it or not, that actually my wife last year got cancer, breast cancer. And that was a super strong learning for me in what it means managing a disease, even if I have no clue what it means for her, even if she's my wife. And that's where there is a difference when we get sick of something. And I think this is also, they gave me a lot of opportunity to consider other elements beyond the treatment and the management.
Yeah. Thank you, Luca. From my side, I'm a very proud member of the partnering team of Roche, and we have the honor to work with tons of companies, external companies, startups, large ones, small ones, to really bring in innovation in a company like Roche, and also partner up together to try to really tackle some of the hardest challenges our patients are facing. So with that, I'm going to give you 2 examples of what the partnering team has been doing last year. Firstly, well, we are really investing into innovation, and we believe that really there is a power in technology, there's a power in bringing that together with science, and digital transformation is there, so we should be able to really make an impact on outcomes for women. So the partnering team has been closing last year a bit more than 50 partnerships, and of which 20 in the space of personalized healthcare and digital, particularly around the topics we are talking about. The second part, what partnering is also very much focusing on, is trying to work together with all partners around the globe, really working on trying to change policy that helps prioritizing women access to treatments, to diagnostics, and where we try to bring really treatments and diagnostics for women around the globe. One of the examples here is, for example, the PINK clinics, which is an experiment we started in Colombia, which was, let's say, inspired in Kenya, and we are now translating that also in Argentina, so across all over the globe, where we really help women to get early screening in breast cancer, so that we could treat, just with that initiative, about 14,000 patients already, so which is quite significant, especially in those countries. So we really have a strong commitment in partnering, but also in Roche, and I believe it's the same in your area, in the real-world data space. So maybe you want to talk about a few of those opportunities where you can close that healthcare gap.
Yeah, I mean, when I was thinking today, I was really thinking the first opportunity is about awareness, right? If we don't consider that this gap exists, we even don't start to move. And that was really, I think is a key basic element, apparently. But myself, as working in personalized healthcare since we started talking about this in Roche, I know that we collect information if it's for man or a woman, but I never consider actually that we have this gap at this level. So this awareness is a key element. The second one is easily connected with the first one. In my next project, in my next action, how can I put the lens to consider that this problem will exist? Will I do it like I did before, or will I consider, okay, I'm getting enough representation of women in this specific context, I'm not getting enough. So considering the fact that there is a call to action is definitely a good second step, otherwise things will not move. Then in the panel, I took the notes, with the panel will be how can real-world data play a role in closing the gap in women's health, right? So real-world data, to be real-world, needs to represent the reality. So this, chatting with friends and colleagues here, they told me, yes, but we have standard deviation, even if we don't have the same number, is almost statistically meaningful. Yes, fine. But one element is to be statistically meaningful. The other one is that we have Alzheimer's disease, where 70% of population is a female population. And we have a trial where 50-50 doesn't represent still an equal way to do this. So I believe that we should look also to make real-world data real, and to read the real-world data understanding what it means, and not just having a letter in a database, right? Because that implies other things. What is the psychological effect getting medication? What is the psychological effect having mastectomy and having one breast less? So how often we consider this? Maybe not enough, right? How often we consider the way they might ask the same questions. How do you feel? Oh, I have a terrible pain on my feet. And you say, I have nothing, and maybe you have the same, right? Because we are different in this sense. So are we considering this? Maybe not enough. And I really think that looking also beyond the pills is a key element, and that's why we are also here today, right? We don't just want to look at the treatment, medication, diagnosis, but what can overall improve the management of a specific disease. Yeah, that's mainly what I have in mind.
It's an important point you are mentioning. And actually, from a partnering perspective, when we are talking to startups and we are talking to all our partners, I think there is an important question we are asking ourselves. We are, as a company, we like to say that we are following the science, but we have to sometimes recognize that science may have a bias, conscious or not. And that's also why we want to say to startups, hey, what exactly is the problem you're trying to solve? And is that problem the same from a perspective of a man, of a woman? Is that problem the same in the perspective of different ethnicities? How are we making sure that we are inclusive in just looking at the problem itself? And the second step is like, okay, if you're coming with an approach, if you're coming with a solution, is that solution also as inclusive as we're thinking? And when you're looking at the cold data, as Luca, not so cold, is explaining us, well, there is a whole patient journey that is happening. It's not just the data that a patient represents. So in general, we believe as a company that also a gender gap is not really helping us in creating a sustainable company, but also not a sustainable community. So as our friend from Group Mutuel has already been mentioning, this is not something we can only do on our own. This is something that we have to do probably as a community with help of authorities, with help of Roche or smaller companies. And we also believe that as a company, having as well a pharmaceutical part as also a diagnostics part, we are probably a very good partner to catalyze this effort. And so in that way, do you also have messages for companies that you're thinking of that you can give us here today?
I was thinking combining expertise, it's a basic one, right? And combining expertise starts with listening and not with talking. That is very difficult for me as I'm a talking person. But listening sometimes builds ideas more than when you're speaking. And I should admit that also being here in this forum and understanding what is going around, it gave me much more insight on what we could do. So combining expertise is something that is in the DNA of our company, as you're referring. Being open-minded. Being open-minded. Any one of us is driven by how we are used to do our work, and transformation means change, these kind of things. So sometimes, if we look how we're establishing partnership in a traditional way, maybe we were looking with a specific lens. If we want to address the problem, we should keep the focus on the problem, and we should be open-minded, adapt ourselves, changing the model to make it happen in the interest, in the end, of the patient, that is potentially any one of us. The other, for me, as I work in IT, this is the home for IT, is my home, this is not my living room, unfortunately, but I would like to be, is about technology, right? Artificial intelligence, machine learning, all of these kind of things sometimes are a little bit hyped, but are also the reality, and it's not just hype, right? They bring value. They bring value, a lot of value in the way we might discover, manage overall diseases. This is another key aspect, and that's where partnership from expertise on pharmaceutical side together with the technology is crucial as well. I have two other more. One is about trust, because if we speak about personalized, we need to go to the process that we need to manage personalized information as well. It's about anonymize, whatever, but we need to gain the trust of sharing data. What is our level of trust in sharing data in the interest of research? What is your level of trust? How overall the organization are using our data to improve our life? This is crucial, right? So how you build trust? On reality, being honest, not gambling, not making a, right? Be transparent. And so trust on data, I think, is a crucial one. And the last one is the element of diversity. Because we say we need to be open mind, but we need also to bring diversity in the discussion. That's the way, personally, I see. And I was reflecting also before on when you were saying about the context where still is underrepresented opportunity, even misdiagnosis on. You think about endometriosis. I mean, I wasn't really aware, actually, chatting with the person, and she told me, you know, Luca, there are many, many diseases where you say, oh, you have a pain cramp here, is because of your menstrual cycle. And maybe there is a misdiagnosis because people don't look at this with the right lens. So the element and the differentiation is crucial, and we need to keep our focus on this, Valerie. And I know that you think the same.
I know we can talk about this for hours if we could, but I see that the timer is moving. So I think as an audience, we all got the message, right? Women are overlooked in healthcare, and there is a gap, and you are all here to close that gap, and I think that's really a great thing to do. So Roche, again, as a company, through this X projects, but also through the collaboration with the EPFL and with Groupe Mutuelle, we're really strongly committed to do that. And let's give you yourself a big applause for being part of this effort. Thank you so much.
Thank you. Thank you.
Thank you so much, Luca and Valerie, for this presentation and discussion. Indeed, there is a gap, and to tackle this gap, there is also so many solutions that exist. And that's what Tech4Eva is also about. It's about awareness raising, as it was mentioned, but it's also about supporting different technical solutions and digital solutions to tackle this gap. So for that, I would like to introduce Lanzio Gillette, who is the Deputy Managing Director of EPFL Innovation Park, and she has been contributing to the program since its creation. So among many other health programs managed by the EPFL Innovation Park. So she will share with us the details of the program, what it is, what it's all about. And so yeah, welcome on stage, Lan.
Good afternoon, everybody here in Roche and online. It's my great privilege to be here to talk about the Tech4Eva initiatives and its making, its goals, and to announce the winner of 2023 selections. I would first to thank Roche, especially the Innovation Lab team, to give us these opportunities, and also thank for all those who have been following us and supporting us for all these years, for your passion for this women's health. So for those who do not know you, I would like to make a brief recall about our missions, which is to build an innovation platform where the disruptive Femtech startups worldwide can join forth with forward-thinking large corporations to advance and to improve technology based for the women's health. So Tech4Eva benefits from the combined strengths of the two founding partners, EPFL Innovation Park and also Groupe Mutuelle. EPFL Innovation Park for its proven track record to bring startups to the success, and Groupe Mutuel for its very large network and know-how of the health system in Switzerland. The program is built on the philosophy of offer equity-free help to any startups in the Femtech who are dedicated and committed to bring in disruptive technology to the market. And it is leveraged on the proven business model, which is corporate startup partnership model that we have been experimenting in various acceleration programs within EPF in Park. We leverage also on the strong ecosystem of Switzerland of innovation and also its outposts in foreign countries. So Tech4Eva, with all these combined resources, has been taking a huge momentum in the last 2 years. We have become one of the largest Femtech accelerator in the world, and also a thought leader in women's health. And this can be reflected by the high interest of the Femtech startup around the world to our accelerators. So if for 2021, we received the 110 applications from 24 countries. In 2022, we received 124 applications from 30 countries. And this year, the pipeline is still growing, and we have received in total 147 applications from 40 countries. And 80% of these startup founders are women. And there are also very exciting, encouraging news linked to the development of these accelerators. 90 million Swiss francs being raised by the startups of this 2 cohort. It's showing a very strong appetite of investors for this previously underdeveloped and unserved space. We could also mention some other good news. For instance, our 2021 alumni, Amber Lab, they are listed as one of the 150 most promising digital health startups in the world. And our alumni in 2021, WOM, they are acquired by another company called Apricity in May 2022. This is our first online virtual clinic, fertility clinics. Other news about startups can also mention that the founder of Seromed is elected as the most promising entrepreneurs in the VivaTech arena, Africa. So you may wonder how the Tech4Eva is operated and who is behind these initiatives. Actually, it is operated by a very strong but very small professional team in collaboration with a very large pool of external experts. We are supported by a group of corporates with women health related business, for instance, Ferrings, SCTs, Roche now, and Philips, Procter & Gamble, etc. They are sending us their experts to serve as a mentor for the startups in the cohort. These mentors are helping to make business introductions, to facilitate pilot projects within the company, and they provide technology and business advisory. Tech4Eva is also leveraging on the expertise of the investment professionals coming from well-established corporate venture funds, such as 5AM Venture in the life science, and other in the well-being, like the Joins, and also very specific Femtech dedicated funds like RH Capital. So these experts, they also review the investment deck and also to give advisory about fundraising. We are also working very closely with a large pool of experts known in the Swiss ecosystems and abroad. They provide advice about governmental fundings and network and business development in Switzerland and abroad. Finally, we are very proud to be able to count on a lot of organizations to be our marketing partner. They distribute our news and also help us to call for projects from around the world and also help us to organize international roadshow. Now, come back to the application of this year. As I said, 145 applications. They come mostly from European regions and 25 from America. But we also noticed there are, this year, quite many projects actually come from global South countries. Regarding the area that this startup covers, this year they are predominantly in the reproductive, menstrual health, sexual health, mental health, fertilities, and pregnancy, less in the area of wellness and the menopause prevention, etc., like last year. And we want to see more projects in this area because they concern a larger portion of populations. Regarding technology solution type, mobile apps and application and healthcare software, medical device, consumer service compose of 58%, and the other way, less projects in slightly less project in AI data analysis, diagnostics, and wearable therapeutics, etc. So let's announce the winner of this cohort. Actually, there are two groups. The first group consists of 60 startups coming from global North countries. They are offering, they are tackle the health challenge in these countries that have a good established healthcare systems. And these projects are in different stage of development, and we plan to have a very tailored support for each one of them. The projects are selected with the criteria of quality of the pitch and credibility of the founding teams, uniqueness of innovation, as well as the solidity of their project itself, the market traction, etc. This year, as I already mentioned, we see a significant increase of the Femtech startups addressing issues for the global source countries. So, and for this demand, we cannot leave this demand unanswered, because women's health is a global topic, but the challenges the women's health, the women have in global North countries are very different from those from the global South countries, where there are urgent need to have affordable therapeutics, medical device, and also digital solutions to take care of basic prevention, protection, and also care of the woman. So this is why we wanted to address these needs, and by creating a second cohort called Tech4Eva Global Source Cohort. And we want to do this also to test the market and test our acceleration models, and to engage talks with international and local organizations. So here's the selection. The 5 startups are selected. Actually, among the 43 Femtech startups addressing challenge in these countries, there are quite many of them could qualified, but we decided for the first round to limit it to 5. And these 5 companies has the commonality of offering low-cost self-scanning or monitoring devices or mobile apps for a better reproductive health. For instance, for cervical health, for instance, for maternity, for fetal health, and to deal with all the maternity linked to disorder, etc. The new cohort will be led by a colleague of us, who is specialized in dealing with technology projects in African countries, and was supported by public health experts from in the African countries, as well as by the head of innovation of Dedezom, and also a person who is very knowledgeable in startup coaching and also for in African countries. Here you have an overview of the activities of this year. Actually, we run differentiated programs for this two cohort, having in mind the common goal of scaling and also fundraising. We design also common activities together. For instance, both cohorts will be sensitized with global health issues, and also we organize together the workshops and peer-to-peer sessions so that the startups of these two cohorts to get connected with each other and to facilitate cross-fertilization of new businesses. And for instance, we could imagine that solution developed in global north country could be adapted into the needs of global south countries, and vice versa. The low-cost solution in the global south country could eventually be adopted in the developed country to reduce the healthcare cost. Like last year, the previous year also, we continued to organize international roadshow. So instead of, in addition to develop our market in the US and in Europe, this year we plan to go to Tel Aviv, to Israel, and also to India. We plan to showcase the solution of these two cohorts in order to meet potential customers and investors. So our ambition through this third edition is to further grow Tech4Eva communities with men and women and at a global level. We would also like to grow the solution portfolio so that we can have them ready and to be implemented in the market. We would like to build an efficient Femtech ecosystems by facilitating the exchange of Femtech data, which is a great topic for next panel discussion. We'd like to facilitate data exchange and partnership within the space, and also bring more investors, more Femtech-friendly investors, but not only. We want to raise awareness to all the other investors, like business angels, corporate venture fund, etc. We would like to contribute to women's health at workplace, which means that we would like to reinforce adoption of Femtech solution within the corporations so that we could facilitate women's career development and also well-being at their workplace. We plan to approach actively the HR department of large corporations to discuss opportunities, having showcase events, and also to organizing maybe the user group. Finally, with this additional cohort of global thoughts, Tech4Eva is taking the very first steps to contribute to the global women's health in a larger scales. And for that, I call for the contribution and also financial support of philanthropic foundations and social responsibility entities and impact funds, so that we can deploy more force to help local entrepreneurship to develop solutions for the global south, but not only, to also facilitate adaptation of the solution that we developed in global north to the emerging countries. So let's meet and have a talk. And I would like to invite all of you to join our initiatives. Thank you.
Thank you so much, Lan. And even more, thank you all, the 147 of you with companies and startups applying this year. As said, the competition has really been harsh because we've only selected 16 startups. So if you're not among the selected ones, please continue what you're doing. Please maybe apply next year, and who knows. So yeah, but what are your reflections, Janus?
Absolutely. No, the startup, the quality of the solutions were really amazing. And so we had to select really the cream of the crop of the startups, I think. So as you mentioned and Lan mentioned, we have selected 16 startups. It has been like a 3 days interview every day, right?
Yes.
Interviewing the startup.
It was a full week. We did interviews from lunch until late. Me personally, together with the team, but I was attending 100% of the interviews. So I really know myself. It was not an easy decision. And I had a few favorites that unfortunately we had to let go because we didn't have more spots. So please, my favorites don't know who they were. So everyone, please apply again next year.
Exactly. So the 16 selected came from 9 different countries and a variety of focus areas such as prevention, mental health, well-being, fertility, pregnancy, just to name a few of those areas.
Exactly. And very soon, we will start with the pitches of the 8 first ones. But before we do that, I would like that we all in this room give a warm hand of applause for the technical team here at Roche that made our job very easy and made everything run smooth. So please.
So now you see the startups on screen, the solution that has been selected. And actually, that's my favorite part of the day because we hear the real solutions. We discover what they are, who they are, where they're from, what they're doing. And yeah, I think that's very exciting. So let's go for the pitches.
Let's go.
All right, so we'll divide it into 2 batches. The first one will be composed of 8 startups. So Samfire Neuroscience, Luma Wamb, PrediLife, Healthy Longer, Neurocore Femtech, Manina Medtech, Beyond Genomics, and finally, Hail. Of course, we'll have to be the bad guys, very rude in terms of timing because it has to be fair for everybody. So we will stop you after 2 minutes. Startup, don't be surprised if we stop you, and sorry for that. Yeah, that being said, let's go. And we start with the first one, which is actually a video, so we won't have to cut you. But it's Samfire Neuroscience.
Hi, my name is Em, and I am the co-founder and CEO of Samfire Neuroscience. At Samfire, we are a women's health company building neurotechnology solutions for neglected women's health needs. Specifically, one of our first indications is menstrual mental and physical health. We think it's insane that women have lived for years with premenstrual syndrome, premenstrual depression, as well as menstrual pain, and have not had particular medical device solutions developed specifically for them. We are working to change that. So we are building wearable solutions that women can integrate into their everyday lives that use state-of-the-art technology and specific personalization for women so that we could develop solutions that work best for them in their everyday lives. We're thrilled to join Tech4Eva this year and are excited to learn from all of the mentors in the program, as well as build our network throughout Europe, as we are very excited to be launching our product in Europe in 2024.
Thank you so much. Let's move to the second one. It's Luma Wamb, and it's actually a medical device targeting thin endometrium, and it's patented, and it delivers a near-infrared light into the uterus. So, Luana, if you hear me, you can start. The floor is yours for 2 minutes virtually.
All right. Hello. Thank you for being present. So my name is Lorna Hasseltine, and I am the founder of Lumawoom. Since I was a little girl, I had no doubt about someday being a mom. But like many women, I spent the first part of my life trying not to get pregnant. I wanted to get an education, start a career, and find a good partner. When we were ready, nothing happened. But all the tests said there was nothing wrong with my body. They call it unexplained infertility. After 2 years of treatments, my situation only got worse. You see, most of the fertility drugs used today are developed to use no longer than 6 months. And instead, they're often used over 2 to 5 years and can actually cause another form of infertility, tooth and endometrium. 24 million women worldwide suffer from this form of infertility due to natural or medical causes. This is about 1 in every 7 women who face infertility. It's a well-known problem, but today there are still no viable cures. I am Luana Hasseltine, and I created a patented therapy and device called Lumawoom. Lumawoom regenerates endometrial cells. Using phototherapy, we're able to multiply the number of cells by 5. Phototherapy is something similar to photosynthesis in plants. By capturing and radiating near-infrared light, Lumawoom penetrates deep into the uterus, reacting in endometrial cells and releasing nitric oxide, ATP, and VEGF growth factors. Combined, these increase circulation and regrow cells. Our market is B2B, selling equipment to OBGYNs. Worldwide, these practices spend more than $28 billion in medical devices every year. Lumawoom has a retail cost of $40,000 with a 60% margin. Calculating a 10% penetration, we will have a turnover of $56 million in just the US alone. Added revenues will come from consumables. Lumawoom offers clinics a strong value proposal, a first-line treatment innovation, which can also complement current IVF practices and bringing not only new revenues, but more importantly, making them more competitive with improved success rates. And patients will increase their chances by having a baby and will reduce the number of expensive treatments to get pregnant. Today, 24 million couples are locked out at the door of becoming parents. Lumawoom's mission is to offer those couples the key to open that door. Thank you.
Thank you. The third solution presented today is PrettyLife. It's an assessment of breast cancer thanks to AI and machine learning. So I think it's Gregory. Stefan, sorry.
Excuse me. Thank you for your selection. I am the CEO and founder of PrettyLife. So our goal is to reduce the number of metastatic breast cancer by around 30% through an early detection of them. We can reduce this number with mammogram, echography, or MRI addressed to women at high risk. We identify women at high risk through a test called MammoRisk, who has been selected by the European Union, which has 3 parts: a genetics test through a saliva swab, a mammogram, and also a short questionnaire. Then we can assess the probability of risk of every woman. This test has been selected by the European Union in the framework of the largest European clinical trial called MyPEPS, My Personalized Breast Screening, on 55,000 women in 7 countries who would be followed during 5 years. And then it should be addressed to all European women, so more than 100 million women over 40. Now we can already sell this test to hospitals and also to big companies, for example, Bouygues, TF1, also IBM or Allianz. So this is a huge international potential market, since mainly all women are concerned and the prevention of breast cancer will be rather efficient. Thank you.
Thank you. Thank you, Stefan. Thank you, Stefan. The fourth one is Healthy Longer, and they analyzed mental health symptoms combined with biochemical pathways of 21 biomarkers in dried urine, to detect the neuronutrient deficiencies. So I think it's Joanna. Yes, perfect. The floor is yours.
Thank you. My name is Joanna Liedunger. I'm founder and CEO of Healthy Longer. Mental health is metabolic health, but what does it mean? From neurological perspective, mental health is a healthy signaling in our brain and nervous system that we are happy, calm, motivated, etc. Metabolic health means that we metabolize enough neuronutrients from food necessary for such signaling. Deficiencies in such neuronutrients result in lack of mental strength and resilience and vulnerability to mental disorders. Imagine we could diagnose exactly what we suffer from, the neurometabolic deficiency causing that, and we could buy foods rich in exactly those neuronutrients we need to improve our mental health. This is what Healthy Longer is about. Today, 40% of society suffers from mental health problems. There is no neurometabolic-based diagnostics for mental disorders, and therapies often fail. For example, antidepressants help less than 15% of patients. But one of the most important root causes of deteriorating mental health is overlooked. We are up to 60% deficient in necessary neuronutrients. Our patent-pending solution contains two components. The first, neurometabolic assessment of symptoms and biomarkers from dry urine, and based thereon, the first metabolic treatment with neuronutrients modulating the signaling of the nerve system and improving mental health. Thank you.
Thank you. The next one is NeuroCore Femtech. It's a personalized therapy during your period and relieves pain and help tissues to recover using AI and machine learning. So Chloe, I think it's you. Yeah. Chloe.
Yep, hello. Can you hear me okay?
Yes, but we cannot see you. I don't know if it's on purpose. Now it's okay, perfect. It's Minia, sorry. The floor is yours.
Cool, thank you. I'll dive straight in. So period pain at a disruptive level affects around 55% of women and adolescent girls. And endometriosis affects 190 million women worldwide, which is similar to the number of those affected by diabetes, and takes on average 80 years to be diagnosed from the onset of symptoms. So both conditions still remain underserved with unmet needs and are huge drivers for education and workplace inequality. So the solution and our mission is to provide new therapeutic technologies that provide safe, effective, and non-pharma means to manage and overcome the negative impact of conditions affecting female health. We are using the latest advancements in bioelectronics to precisely target specific conditions non-invasively and with high degrees of efficacy. So introducing Mina, that is a two-part system, and the first is the treatment delivery hardware in the form of a micronized dockable device that can be paired with a range of different accessories for applying the treatments. And the second part is the Mina companion app, and it's the first of its kind of app-based therapeutics. So not only does the Mina app allow for tracking and symptom monitoring, like the leading tracking apps, the fundamental difference is that its primary function is to treat, not just to track. And the data from each user is directly put to use as it allows for the treatments to become personalized and tailored to meet the needs of each individual and their experience of each condition. And unlike any other device on the market, our treatment formulations serve as a therapeutic that aims to reduce and prevent the pain from manifesting in the first place, rather than just aiming to block the pain once it becomes problematic. As mentioned, the first two markets we're targeting in the femtech sector are period pain and endometriosis, with a combined market of around $10 billion. But we also have the potential to be the first to target other conditions in this way, such as postpartum recovery. And we know this is more than achievable because we're already using NeuroCore's existing foundation technologies and expertise in bioelectronics, where we have proven pain solutions already in the market.
Thank you. So, sorry for calling you Mina, now I got the point. The next one is Manina Health MedTech, and they help doctors in decision-making by detecting the right timing for IVF.
Good afternoon. I am Mónica Rodríguez de la Vega, CEO and co-founder at Manina MedTech. We are a spin-off of Valdebron Institute of Research with the mission to improve the success of in vitro fertilization treatments. Luis Agersnap and I founded Manina 2 years ago. We have complementary profiles in the fields of life science, data science, project management, and business, and we welcomed on board 2 clinical profiles Dr. Julia Herrero, who is the head of the Human Reproduction Department of Vall d'Hebron Hospital, and Michelle Carbonell, who is a specialist in implantation failure. The unmet need we are solving is to detect the best moment to perform embryo transfer, which is the last step of the IVF treatment, which is the moment when you transfer the embryo from the incubator into the uterus of the future mother. Embryo transfer success is around 30%, making the process long, expensive, and emotionally devastating for patients. Embryo transfer success depends on two main factors: embryo quality and the uterine readiness for embryo transfer. Nowadays, it is possible to produce and select high-quality embryos, but there is no way to ensure that this embryo is getting transferred when the uterus is ready. We are developing Synchrony, a point-of-care device to allow right-on-time embryo transfer. Unlike the standard of care, which is counting days, or the lab tests requiring tissue biopsies and days for results, Synchrony detects uterine readiness accurately, instantly, and without destroying endometrial integrity. We envision boosting IVF success to make the treatment safer, faster, and more affordable. Thank you.
Thank you so much, Monica. Thank you so much, Monica. The next one is Beyond Genomics. It's a fertility test clinically validated, capable of diagnosing and explaining the reason behind infertility. And for that, I have Mayam on stage today. Thank you.
So, good afternoon, everyone. I have a question for you. What's worse than having a medical condition? Not having a diagnosis. This is what happens to 1 woman out of 5 and 1 man out of 2 who suffer from infertility. Such an absence of diagnosis, also known as idiopathic infertility, leads to medical wandering and guesswork-based treatment. Obviously, the burden is mostly carried out by women. There is one solution, clinically validated, or one biomarker, should I say, to understand the underlying reasons behind idiopathic infertility. This is telomeres. But what are telomeres? In the middle of the picture, you have what we call chromosome. Chromosomes are structures in which our DNA is condensed. Telomeres are their end gaps. They play the same role towards your DNA than that of a book cover towards its pages. They prevent them from falling apart, getting degraded, and so on. The problem is there was no technology available in the market capable of analyzing your telomeres in a scalable manner, sensitive enough, and in single cells. So Beyond Genomics has made one. Using our technology, we have led a big clinical study and came up to the conclusion that telomeres are the most precise biomarker to understand every infertility, including that of idiopathic people. Given that your blood cells are the perfect reflection of your oocytes or spermatozoids, from the comfort of your home, using only 1 blood drop, we can assess your fertility profile. Our technology, as mentioned, is clinically validated, internationally patented, nationally granted, and we are now on our pathway for FDA clearance. Thank you for your attention.
Thank you. And the last but not least startup of this first batch is HAIL. It's a community and platform providing women with chronic pelvic pain with personalized mental health to improve the quality of their lives. So Gaia, whenever you're ready, the floor is yours.
Thanks. Hi, everyone. My name is Gaia, and I'm CEO and co-founder of HAIL, a digital therapy platform to help people with chronic pelvic conditions to live better. So 1 woman out of 4 worldwide suffer from chronic conditions in the pelvic genital area, such as endometriosis and vulvodynia, and their life is hugely impacted on a daily basis. This results into a 4 billion euros market just in Europe that is completely underserved and untackled. And to start doing that, we want to become the community of reference for these pathologies in Europe by starting connecting people and really exchanging experiences. And that's something that we have already started doing with our 10K members community. But most importantly, we started our platform, which is now in private beta and is currently being used by more than 60 monthly paying users at the moment, which provides personalized mental health support for these people based on psychotherapy and sex therapy and community interactions to really help them managing pain on a daily basis and lower the interference of pain. The users are reporting very good engagement and retention metrics, but more importantly, they're showing very significantly better anxiety levels, sexual satisfaction level, and an average of 34% decrease in pain perceived and interfered on daily life. So we're very happy to be part of this last cohort of Tech4Eva, and I'll be happy to connect with all of you. Thank you.
Thank you so much, Gaia, and thank you so much to all of your other, the 7 founders that presented. So before we started this first pitch block, we briefed the startups harshly that there is a 2-minute limit and they are not allowed to go over it. And Johannes, I think we briefed them almost a little bit too much because we're actually a few minutes already, ahead of schedule. So we, for the next opening ceremony next year, let's be a bit more Romandie, a little bit less Swiss German, and. But we have a few messages before I think we all deserve a little break.
So of course, mainly Switzerland is represented, as well as Germany that we can see second. That's very surprising, but still interesting. France, it's moving too fast. No.
I see Sweden, where I'm from, so hey. Do you know where Hong is? I didn't.
No idea.
No, we have to do our little geography wrap-up course afterwards. And we see as well, I mean, they are here, we have the numbers. So a lot of corporates, of course, a good piece of startups. Yeah, I think with this mix, we can really create good discussion. We have the corporates that have the processes and sometimes the cash that the startups really don't have. And then
this one is more interesting, yeah. Yeah, you know, as I said, mental health and fertility are the 2 big trends nowadays. It's not only a trend, it's a need, of course, from everyone. And it's funny because fertility and infertility doesn't affect only women, it affects everybody, and mental health as well. So that's,
actually, isn't fertility and infertility kind of the definition of often including the 2 genders?
Yeah, absolutely, no, absolutely. Absolutely. All right.
So yeah, plenty of areas, and it seems like there is not only one area where there is opportunity, it's really, really all over the spectrum.
Let's move forward on the program. Perfect. So I would like now to introduce our next keynote speaker. It is Louise Agersnap, and she's the head of innovation at the World Health Organization, based in Geneva, and she will talk about how scaling innovation can accelerate and impact public health. So Louise is an innovation and change management leader for more than 25 years of experience in the UN, private sector, NGO, academia. So Louise, if you can hear me, the virtual floor is yours.
Thank you so much. Can you hear me?
Yes, perfectly.
Great. Thanks for that introduction. It's a pleasure to be here. I'm sorry I can't be there in person, but I'm with you in spirit. Let me start by saying that the case for innovation in women's health is strong, and Femtech is an important contribution in this regard. So why is that? Take, for instance, this fact. According to WHO, 30 maternal deaths will occur in the next hour while we're here talking. This is in stark contrast with the safe birth experience that my mom luckily had when she had me in a safe, public and free hospital in Denmark. And yes, it is me you see there lying in my mom's arms. Millions of women across the world don't have that privilege, and we're here to change that. So here's some other alarming facts. Approximately half of all female deaths in low and middle-income countries are attributable to non-communicable diseases such as cancers, cardiovascular disease, lung disease, etc. Also, women have higher mortality rates than men from Alzheimer's disease and other dementias. The prevalence of migraines is twice as high among women than men, and the prevalence of multiple sclerosis is twice as high in women than men. Last alarming fact, by 2030, it is estimated that 1 in 5 women are expected to be living with obesity compared to 1 in 7 men. So I think it's clear that we do have a moral imperative here. It's not about innovation for fun, it's about equity in health, it's about impact, and making sure that all those powerful innovations that we see out there, including Femtech solutions, reach the people and not least the women that need them the most. WHO's strategy, what we also call the 13th General Program of Work in UN language, highlights the importance of science and innovation and research to WHO's work and how we will help develop and scale up solutions to accelerate impact. So our imperative and what drives us is the fact that we're behind on delivering and reaching the Sustainable Development Goals, what we in WHO express as the 3 billion targets, which is a reflection of the health-related Sustainable Development Goals. We're going at a quarter of the pace that we should to reach the targets by 2030. So clearly business as usual will not help us get there. We need innovation, but we need innovation at scale, importantly. However, there's still a mismatch between that amazing pipeline of innovations and the real demand in countries. And even when there is a match between the two, these innovations don't necessarily go to scale that easily. And WHO, we believe, can help be a facilitator. We're mandated to address these barriers as a facilitator and as a champion of champions, if you will, for innovation. So illustrated in a different way, here's how we see the barriers and the challenges, but also WHO's possible role in different parts of the journey. In the early stage of innovation development, innovations often reach a certain point of maturity thanks to investments done by innovation funders out there, but they also often hit what we call the wall of frustration. This is where the market access or the uptake by the public sector gets difficult for various reasons. We believe WHO can help in at least 2 phases of this journey. First of all, in the early stages, WHO can help shape the demand for and the supply of innovations by curating the demands based on our data on health needs in countries and our direct collaboration with the ministries of health in countries. This would enable more innovation development and supply to be oriented to where it needs to be oriented, the real needs, and thereby truly reaching the underserved populations and promoting that equity I talked about earlier. And for instance, turning the tide on the way too many women that die during labor when we know it can be prevented. Secondly, WHO can help later in the stages of innovation by matching the demand in countries with the supply of mature innovations and curating and assessing the innovations that can help meet the needs of countries and help unlock barriers to uptake and scaling of innovations in governments and by governments by engaging our 194 member states. So let me be clear, it takes a whole ecosystem to scale an innovation, including going from the incubators and the innovators, R&D leaders, entrepreneurs, to the investors and funders, to governments and private sector and markets, and the multilateral organizations of the UN and the WHO, and their technical expertise to ensure safety and efficacy, and that these innovations and what we do in innovation actually speaks to and helps us reach the Sustainable Development Goals. And not to speak of the end users of innovation, who are an important part of this ecosystem. WHO on its part can help leverage our comparative advantages, first of all, as member states-driven organization. We have 194 member states and over 150 country offices with ongoing dialogue with ministries of health and other parts of government. We are the global health leader, setting these health agenda, the norms and standards, and guiding member states on health matters based on evidence and science. We have technical expertise and can help curate evidence-based solutions to global health problems, and also help work with our member states to build up the capacity and the ecosystems that will help innovations get to scale and thereby have more impact. So what is innovation then, you may ask? And I can tell you, and you surely already know, it's more than tech. It's not just the shiny gadgets and the advanced technologies, also all the other stuff, the frugal innovations, the social innovations, etc. We define it as follows. Innovation in health is a newer, improved solution that has the ability to accelerate positive impact in public health, responding to a public sector demand that has not yet or is not otherwise addressed. So as you can hear, we are very focused on the public sector, leading this and setting the agenda and driving with their needs and demands, and also casting the net quite widely in terms of what qualifies as an innovation. WHO works on innovation across the globe in many different fashions. I'm here speaking to what we do at the WHO Innovation Hub that I lead. And we focus mainly on those upstream late-stage innovations that are mature, that are assessed by our technical teams, and are proven to have ability to go to scale and thereby transform and change and have a positive impact in people's health. As you can sense, we here talk about innovations of all flavors, but broadly speaking, you could say that they fall into three categories. The digital innovations, the digital solutions that we'll have a look at later in my talk. Service delivery innovation, which is actually a quite broad category of what could also be labeled social innovation or process innovation, policy innovations, and lastly, health product innovations. Our current strategy is aimed at supporting WHO's member states to accelerate impact of evidence-based interventions through the use of scaled innovations. We currently depict it as a house with these four pillars, which we're currently updating and reviewing together with our colleagues across the organization, as well as key stakeholders globally. In the interest of time, let me just provide a few examples in each of these pillars. When we talk about curate, we really talk about this prioritization of demand and supply. Based on our data and evidence and our country network, we have a good overview of where are the big pain points in public health globally and at country level. And this is really where the innovation energies should be channeled. We also have technical departments that provide the expertise that can help assess solutions and help curate a pipeline of safe and effective solutions. Under convene, it's really about convening stakeholders, looking at the ecosystem and helping to alongside other partners to improve the value chain so that innovations can really come to fruition and unfold the potential they have to improve people's lives or save lives. For example, we have a global partnership with something called the International Development Innovation Alliance, IDIA, which is an alliance of some of the biggest innovation funders and aggregators that can help us provide access to a pipeline of mature innovations. Under capacitate, this is about two things. Developing the capacity within WHO so that across our three levels, from the countries to regions and headquarters, we can help facilitate that innovation matchmaking I've been talking about, the uptake in countries, but also it's about building capacity and enabling our member states to be comfortable and capacitated and enabled to engage with the scaling of innovations that they choose. Under codifying, this speaks to WHO's normative leadership, where we can help set norms and standards and guidance for our member states and other stakeholders in their management of innovations. For instance, we could help build case studies showcasing learnings from concrete innovations. We can, based on those templates, develop templates or blueprints for certain typologies of innovations, such as container-based mobile clinics for primary healthcare delivery. And we can help plan for or develop guidance on how to plan for scaling innovation in the public sector, or how to build up or stimulate local innovation ecosystems. So let me round this off and ground us a bit with some concrete examples, not as an endorsement of these examples, but simply to exemplify and inspire, and as I said, anchor the discussion. Going back to the issue of women's health, which I can see from the earlier conversation and word cloud is a big passion in this virtual room. Here are some existing innovations that leverage digital technology specifically. The first example is called Prompts and is from South Africa. It is SMS-based and is really about ensuring that pregnant women currently in certain counties in Kenya, when they sign up and register as pregnant in a hospital, they will be also enrolled in this service if they choose to, whereby they receive timely prompts and messages with the information and sometimes life-saving advice that they need in different stages of their pregnancy. This is quite simple, you could say, but thanks to the technology and the fact that mobile telephone penetration is quite high in many low and middle income countries, these types of services can really help improve and save lives. This is also a chance for women to send SMS questions back to a team of clinicians who can then triage the SMSs from women using AI and machine learning, so that messages that contain certain worrisome words like bleeding will surface to the top and get the first attention. The results so far have been quite impressive. There's over 1 million mothers enrolled to date in this program, reached with information and advice. It has led to a 27% increase in moms attending the 4+ prenatal care checkups. So you can hear it's, and they also stay in contact after the birth of the child, and thereby it's a good way to also continue informing women about important immunization programs and checkups for the newborn and infants. 85% of moms that have flagged a danger sign go to hospital, and there's been a 2-fold increase in moms taking up family planning services. The second example is from another country, from Kenya. It's a chatbot that is really focused on safe abortion information. It's a chatbot 24/7, and it also provides psychosocial support to women and some electronic payment options. The last example is called Mom Connect. Many of you may have heard of it. It's a bit similar to Prompts in that it's an SMS-based telemedicine type solution. It also entails data collection, a help desk service, and it allows women to rate services to assure quality, and is integrated with the National Health Information System. So the opportunities in these areas are quite immense, and we just need to scale them up and make sure that more women benefit from them. The last example here has reached, impacted 2.4 million lives. It covers at the moment actually 60% of the total number of women who are pregnant in South Africa. So I hope these examples inspire and also show some of the concrete things that we can help together deliver to the underserved populations around the world, not least women. And so in closing, there's so much we can do. We can leverage technologies and innovation of all flavors to improve women's health, and we count on your support. Thank you so much. Last slide. Thank you.
Thank you so much, Louise Agersnap, for sharing with us all these figures and your vision about the innovation in health in the future. So now let's move on to the next part of our event today, and I would like to introduce you our moderator for the panel discussion. So it's Olivia Kinghorst, and she's a seasoned journalist, moderator, and anchor who has worked for many, many media outlets such as CNN, Forbes, just to name them. So yeah, welcome on stage, Olivia. Yeah.
So we should all take our seats already, I guess. Ladies and gentlemen, it's a real pleasure. We can slowly start to welcome all the panelists come and join us. And one is actually going to be joining us online, so that's why we have 3 seats. I just want to say it's a real pleasure to be here today, only because as a new mom going through this postpartum phase, I can relate to some of the startups there. And I just want to say, if anyone has somehow a magical tech solution that can give new mums 8 hours of beautiful sleep, please, please apply for next year's cohort. I guarantee, or nearly, that you might get in. So without further ado, we're actually going to switch topics a little bit because the focus right now is about optimizing the prevention and treatment of breast cancer, a heavy topic, and I know that a lot of people are joining us online. We have about 400 people, another 100 or so in person today with us. But just so that we're all on the same page here, that we have an understanding of the big picture, let me bring you a few of the striking numbers. Cancer is, of course, one of the leading causes of death around the world, contributing to nearly 1 in 6 deaths, and in every year, approximately 10 million, close to 10 million people die of cancer. The most common are breast, lung, colon, rectum, prostate, skin, and stomach, and I'm sure many of us in this room have either been affected, either through family or friends, or someone we know has been affected by it. So obviously a very relevant topic. Now, specifically today, we want to focus the conversation on women's health issues and the common cancers affecting women. So our expert panel, which I would like to welcome, first of all, is Jérôme Barito, Director of Health and Prevention at the insurance group, Groupe Mutuelle. Thank you for joining us. And then we had a last-minute step-in today. Welcome on board Celia Chouquet, Chief Commercial Officer of ITIDIS. The CEO, Marija, obviously could not join because of a last-minute emergency, but thank you, Celia, for stepping in. And then right behind us, Hossam Hadoud, who's actually coming to us from Egypt, and he's part of the Roche team at the Digital InnoLab team. So thank you for coming to us today, and I hope the time difference works. Hossam. Now, to kickstart the discussion, we want to start at the very beginning, which is prevention. So according to the World Health Organization, between 30 and 50% of cancers are preventable. Breast cancer, however, remains at the top with around 2.3 million cases a year. Sergio, perhaps a simple question to start, and probably difficult to answer. Why are we still faced with these statistics?
It's actually very interesting that for many, breast cancer is sort of a solved problem. It was the first cancer indication that saw genetics, targeted therapy. There's been an incredible amount of publicity around breast cancer awareness, and yet still, and actually even more so now, breast cancer is the leading cancer in terms of newly diagnosed patients, which is shocking if you think that it only affects, or predominantly only affects one gender, right, while lung cancer affects both genders. So what we can see is that there's still a lot of lifestyle factors, poor diet, increasing obesity, environmental factors that drive more cancer cases, compounded with still a lack of awareness. So these two factors together make that breast cancer just continues to be such a big health problem. And then you see that despite the new targeted therapies and the screening and prevention that we're putting in place, it sort of doesn't get to the women, and it doesn't yield the results in terms of outcomes. So it is still a big problem. I also think, having worked a lot with breast cancer patients, that because women's health, as we saw today, is still full of fears and stigmas, not talking about it, not being as proactive maybe about their own health and their own breast cancer screening, women might shy away from getting the diagnosis. And then the whole health apparatus is still slow. So again, despite the focus of breast cancer, we still see very long diagnosis times and very poor outcomes.
So let's follow up with this point where obviously, as you mentioned, prevention hasn't reached an optimal level. Hossam, what are your thoughts on this? There's still some stigma surrounding it. How do we change this conversation so that people can open up, that it's not behind the curtains?
I think it wants to be, the awareness to be done in a different way. So because this disease, and mainly focusing on the breast cancer here on the women, so it's a problem not only for the patient, so it's a great issue for the whole family and the caregivers that are surrounding the breast cancer patient. So I think we need to still, the awareness part still, it's an important part and a pillar that we need to focus across the globe. I know that there's a lot of efforts now in the awareness related to the breast cancer, but still I think this part will have a lot to do, because as just mentioning that there is a lot of fear from the patients to go and to diagnose, and how they are going to listen, they are diagnosed with breast cancer. So if we try to give some hope to the patients nowadays, that no, early diagnosis and early detection can save lives, can let us reach the point of the cure for the breast cancer patients. It's not matter of only diagnosis and I'll be living with the cancer. No, it's not that case now. We are evolving in the technology of the diagnosis, we are evolving in the technology of the treatment, so we can fulfill the whole patient journey with different aspects that will make the patient's lives better. So I think having the right awareness, this will allow us to prevent as much as we can. Definitely we cannot fulfill the full picture. However, doing that with a good rate would benefit a lot the patients and the community as well. So my point here, Olivia, is that awareness is an important part and a pillar, and not only about a certain part of the journey, but awareness about the whole journey. So we can improve different parts of the journey for the breast cancer patients.
Which is actually what you're trying to help through LUNET, which we will get into later, about early detection and diagnosis. Jerome, you come from the insurer side. I'm very curious to hear your thoughts, how you think you could be contributing in this scenario. What is the situation in Switzerland in terms of prevention and investment?
Prevention is, of course, one element and one topic we as insurer can act on. Bringing an insurer at 4 p.m. in a room is a bit dangerous because it's not a devilish act, it's usually boring. But believe me, we try to do our best also in the prevention sectors. What we see currently in Switzerland, there is 1.8 billion invested in prevention. Sounds quite a lot, but it's only 2% of the overall amount of money invested in health. So we do believe and we think that there is much more potential in this topic. Another element by prevention is that we as financial institutions are incentivized to work further on the process, because we also see the impact down the chain and we see what happens later on. Prevention is sometimes cheap and quite easy to do, much easier as the consequences down the chain. And then there is a need of credibility. Hossam or Celia, those are experts that are treating the disease. We have our small wheel roles as a financial institution to play, which is striving to move from a more sickness insurance to an health insurance. So not trying to tackle the illnesses, but trying to be more of a kind of health partner for our client and patients.
2% doesn't sound like a very high number. What could be an optimal number for investment into prevention?
Yeah, the more the best. So I would say 5 to 7 would be something we would love to achieve. But currently, as in many countries, law is also a very tricky element we need to work with. And sometimes we need to be also very creative, finding ways around the law to work and invest in prevention programs. And I think it's also due to the fact that health is very low into the Maslow pyramid. So it's a very touchy subject. And it affects all human beings. And that's why also governments are very cautious with data and health. And that's why it's also tricky for us to find a way to better work on the prevention system. So no, data sharing is one key element. And basically health data in particular are something we are trying with the government to work on to improve the prevention of the global health system.
So now that we've actually set the stage, let's dig a little bit deeper into what is really important here, which is the tech solutions that are available to help support women across the board. Celia, the story of Artitis started in Basel in 2017. You joined this year, but just tell us a little bit about the history. Where was the gap in the market at that time?
Yeah, it actually started as a spin-out from the University of Basel. And the realization of the co-founders was that physical properties of cells in cancer matter, and that by measuring them, we can bring in a whole layer of new information, similar to when genomics brought in a whole new layer of information. And actually, as of last year, physical properties of cells were added into the hallmarks of cancer. And so we knew that by measuring them, we can fill this gap of, so why is treatment not working? And so if you look today, 60% of neoadjuvant therapy, which is the most promising treatment regimen, fails in women, and we do not stop the progression to the metastatic state. And this is why patients die. So as soon as the cancer gets out of the tumor environment, you know, the success rate and the chances of cure are just desperately low. And not just in breast cancer, in all cancers. But what we've seen is that by measuring the physical characteristics of cells, we can actually see that metastasis is a physical phenomena. Cells need to be soft enough to go out, right? And that you can measure with the stiffness of cells. You can also measure that there can be a barrier around the tumor of a very heterogeneous microenvironment. And so if that exists, then therapy cannot come in. And these two measurements give us a nanomechanical signature on which we can predict success to neoadjuvant treatment right at the first biopsy. We also, by measuring the biopsy at the patient bedside, can give a benign versus malignant diagnosis within 3 hours, while usually the delay of diagnosis is 10 days at best, and in most countries can take months. So that was the problem that we are passionate solving. This is also why we got into a very similar incubator with the Texas Medical Center and MD Anderson. So for those of you who do not know, MD Anderson Cancer Center is the biggest cancer center in the world. We also like to highlight the fact that it has as many biopsies, breast biopsies taken a year as Switzerland, if you can imagine that, just one center. And they saw the need for a technology that actually not only can measure these things, but can make them actionable. And so part of that strategic alliance are clinical trials in seeing how we can make that tumor microenvironment more permeable to treatment via radiation.
So, Hossam, LUNET actually overlaps to a certain degree because you're using artificial intelligence to improve the efficiency of the diagnosis process, but also to improve the accuracy. Tell us how that works from the very first screening.
Yeah, from the part of having the challenge of the diagnosis, as we mentioned, and the awareness about the disease. So the misdiagnosis in the breast cancer is huge. And maybe I'm expert here in the region, the Middle East, for example, but definitely this is across the world in different regions as well. But here in the Middle East as well, for example, more than 40% on the market research and from the customers' feedback, we are missing the diagnosing of the breast cancer. So that's why when we thought in Roche how we can solve this problem using the technology and the AI technology, and here we partnered with one of the startups, that's a Korean startup called Lunet. And Lunet simply it have an AI algorithm by which it detects the breast cancer through the reading of the mammogram. So simply the radiologist will upload or use the mammogram image and use the AI technology to show if there is any suspicious location of breast cancer through the mammogram reading. So by this, it improved the diagnosis in the breast cancer, and this tool is of accuracy of 96%. So this technology as well is it's FDA approved and EMEA approved and used in different regions across the globe. So here is the beauty of having the AI technology in improving and detecting the breast cancer. And our role in Roche when we partnered with Lunet is to bring this technology and accelerate this AI usage to the market. And definitely this kind of collaborations that we need to build and to sponsor and to grow and to scale as well, because we as a Roche, for example, we cannot do it alone, and Lunet cannot do it alone, for example. So this merging of the pharma company and the startups will make this good success of the technology and the pharma as well. So this is simply the story and what happened between Roche and Lunet. And now we are in the phase as well of building how we can scale this beyond the region, beyond our region, and going into different regions as well, because the feedback is great in the tool. Definitely we are facing some challenges as well, but however, at the end, it's an AI tool improving as well the whole healthcare system, because radiologists are focusing on the suspicious cases, not on the whole cases. So it have a lot of benefits and impact on the not only the patients and the doctors, but also the whole ecosystem healthcare. So yeah, this is like a glimpse maybe about Lunet and Roche partnership and what exactly is happening and the use of the technology in detecting the breast cancer through the mammogram readings.
You've emphasized the need there for collaboration. Obviously, Lunet not only works in collaboration with Roche, but also Microsoft. Now, Jérôme, coming once again from the health insurer perspective side, how are you trying to strike more collaborations, work together closer with startups to increase the situation for everyone? It's a win-win situation when there's more prevention, early diagnosis for you as a health insurer.
Absolutely, and that's also the reason why we are here today. We try our best to collaborate. Again, insurance or financial institution, they are a bit the shadow guy or the shadow person in the back. And what we try to strive is also these sparks that are all in this room through your jobs, through your technologies, through your researchers. And we try to bring all those people together in different kind of ecosystem. I know it's a bit a buzzword ecosystem, but it's the way it works today. And there is the collaboration, the concrete collaboration with Work and EPFL. We are, with EPFL, the founding partner of Tech4Eva, because as I said today morning, we strongly believe that it is insane in 2023 that half of the population is treated differently or not as good as it should. And then we have our humble way of trying to do our best. So it doesn't sound sexy. I told you, insurers are not sexy. Sorry for being boring, but we do a prevention program that we finance fully for breast cancer, for instance, or colon cancer. We try to also bring a generic medicine for free for our client, allowing them to access then medicine they couldn't pay or offer themselves to the current system. So it's, again, it's a bit a shadow role, it's a bit humble, but we all together, as Osam or Celia say, we strongly believe that single parts cannot achieve the same result if they don't cooperate together as they do today.
And that was a good example that you brought up with the mammograms, because of course in every canton in Switzerland, it's a little bit different with the health insurance, and you did say that you would cover it, correct? And tell us how this initiative came about.
But it's, nowadays you talk about client perspective, design thinking, so we do work a bit like startups work. We try to find the pain points in different topics and aspects, and of course, breast cancer prevention is a big pain point for women nowadays. And as Switzerland is organized, it's a fantastic and colorful mess. So 26 cantons with different legislation, different rules. Well, what we said is basically we do the coverage for everyone, no matter which canton you are from. If your canton brings support, fine for you. If it doesn't, or partially, we cover the rest. And those are typical initiatives. As I said, they're not spectacular, but as we heard from WHO, sometimes it's more humble and normal activities that can also bring impact and value.
So, yes, you wanted to jump in.
I just love the phrase "colorful and beautiful mess." That's, I'll remind that. And so what we've seen in the U.S. in engaging with payers is the same thing. You have a big spectrum of very conservative and more open to innovative technology. And I think what is important is that then there is the ability to do strategic contracting with the innovative ones to say, hey, can we accelerate the acceptance of new technology by generating that evidence together, by you telling us what we need to prove, because obviously it'll take longer for an innovative technology. So what can we prove to you right now? Hey, it's working and it's making this initial impact until we get the outcomes data maybe a few years later, and how can we get early reimbursement with those more forward-thinking payers? Because the benefits of technology are clear, but then the whole business model is still stuck in the old ages, right? It's not adapted to a lot of the things that we can now do with AI, with technology. Clinical trial designs are, very rigid. So all of these things can be thought through together with innovative payers such as yours to come to a better model. Still producing the quality of data that obviously you need, but just also in more innovative and diverse ways.
So what you're trying to say is that even if the innovation is there, you need the traditional players to move forward and come together so that they can accelerate the
It's a disconnect, right, between what we can do technologically and how the system works, and those two are not always synchronized.
Celia, if I can follow up with you, we've taken a look at a few examples of the tech solutions that are on offer, but what other new technologies or breakthroughs are we still awaiting to really revolutionize the way we optimize and detect and treat cancer, breast cancer, for example?
I think the revolution is in the intersection of all of these technologies and then brilliant entrepreneurs as are here today, and as we've seen. It's not that the technology doesn't exist or has to be invented. Obviously, some of it does, but it needs these crazy, passionate people to think of that idea, bring it together, combine AI with the newest measures, and trailblaze a path where there is none. So I think that I would expect to see out of many of the things that we've seen here today.
Hassam, coming to us from Egypt, Lunit has up until now really focused on the Middle East market. But from what I'm hearing, it sounds like a solution that should be benefiting women across the world. How do you plan to scale Lunit so that it's not just an idea serving one region?
Yeah, definitely. We are working on that now. So I think it's a mix of solving some points that we need to take care of. So I think the first part is shaping the policies in some countries, because still there are some countries regulations about the use of the technology in the healthcare. So some policies here needs to be adjusted to allow a better use of the technology. So this is one that will help the scaling part. The second part as well is the mindset for the healthcare professionals, because the healthcare professionals somehow feel that the technology is going to replace them. So you need as well to make sure that this point is clear for them. The technology is an aiding tool. We are just supporting you. So it's not replacing your role anyway. So changing this mindset and make it clear for the HCPs, this is important as well in the scaling. The other part is just the right mindset and the right teams and people who can just go and implement any technology to be used in breast cancer or other than breast cancer. But here I'm focusing on the scaling part. So we are playing a role and as a catalyst, if I can say, and my colleagues in the InnoLab team here, I'm saying hello to everyone. So supporting in that part across the globe to have this scalability of Lunet partnership with Roche to just, as you said, not only focusing on a certain region, but as well to explore different regions as well.
And Jerome, I'd like to give the final word to you, because as a big institution, as a big group, Groupe Mutuelle, what is your advice to maybe some of the startups watching who want financing and need that support to get off the ground? What can you say to them?
I think I can give you or I can seed two ideas, not give you two tips. It sounds a bit overwhelmed, but the one thing is, as Celia perfectly told, measuring. You all heard, or most of you heard about PROMs, so patient-related outcome measures. It's helping us changing a bit the system. Today, it's a bit the lasagna system. The more you get, the more you pay. So it's a volume-based, and at the end, you feel sick. That's a bit what's happening. And what we'd love to do is to switch a bit towards more patient journey-oriented system, in which we can pay quality and results. Means we can, based on facts, see at the end that there is an increase or there is something better happening for people. And this is one future we are going in a direction we are following, value-based healthcare. And I strongly encourage you to think about how can I measure the impact of the work I'm doing, that the boring insurer can at the end say, I'm going to pay. And the other thing is also, there are direct impact of human being, but there are also a lot of indirect impact. If we talk about cancer, for instance, companies are struggling. As soon as they have employees sick, or as soon as employees have family member sick or touched by the sickness, it has also a negative impact on the performance of the company, especially SMEs. In Switzerland, we are a strongly SMEs-oriented country. And trying also to support the indirect impact of cancer, of disease, is something that helps and something we are willing to support. For instance, we collaborate with Otium, which is a Geneva-based foundation, and they support companies in which you have people touched by cancer. But those ideas need to be also further assessed and thought by. So the two aspects I said, make sure you can be measured, that we can pay you. And the second one is, think a bit broader. You have a direct target, but sometimes the indirect target is at least as interesting or as impactful as the direct one.
Okay. Well, thank you very much, Sharon, for that very concrete answer. And we don't think your job is boring at all. So wonderful. For all the audience, give a big round of applause to Celia, Jérôme, Hossam for joining us today. Thank you. Thank you.
And last but not least, give also a warm hand of applause for Olivia, that's been moderating the whole panel. So we're moving on in the program, and now we are at the stage where we will do the second batch of the selected startup pitches. And I know there's been quite a lot of numbers, but I just want to quickly remind you. So we had 147 applicants, and we chose 16. And I just made a very quick, simple calculations. And that means that for every startup you will hear on stage right now, there is somewhere between 9 and 10 startups that we had to say no to. So this was so hard. I emphasize again, I mean, it was not an easy selection. But for the 8 startups we have in front of us, I really like all of them. So now we will hear more from Wake Up Pelvic, from Rue Medical, from MIM Solution, from Adira Health, from Palpa, from Eagle Pads, from Hayavai, from Nerona. So we will actually start not going too far here from Basel. We're going to stay in Switzerland. And I'm very happy to welcome on video to pitch Wake Up Pelvic, that is really bringing a new way to better help your pelvic floor to for pelvic rehabilitation, especially after childbirth. So please put the video on, and we are ready to hear your pitch.
Hi, I'm Eva, and I'm a co-founder at Wake Up Pelvic. Wake Up Pelvic supports women with pelvic dysfunction in improving their recovery time. We empower women to take an active role in their treatment. This is why we offer a personalized approach to pelvic rehabilitation. The statistics from pelvic dysfunction are astonishing. More than 30% of all women in Europe experience urinary incontinence at some point in their lives. Have you noticed your family member or a friend often rush to the bathroom? Potentially, they might have this problem. The good news is that the condition is treatable, and in many cases with consistent exercises. However, our research has shown that patients without a habitual exercise routine have a slow recovery process, which brings additional stress to their lives. In fact, more than half of pelvic dysfunction patients report mental health problems. Our solution is an app which complements pelvic physiotherapy process and provides visibility of the treatment. It helps patients to track symptoms and progress over the course of their pelvic physiotherapy program. Gamification enables patients to integrate prescribed exercises into their daily routine and execute them correctly and regularly. At the core of Wake Up Pelvic product is a recommendation-based system which analyzes patients' symptoms and progress. Collected data provides real-life evidence about individual effectiveness of therapies and shares important health insights with the patient, hence supporting the patient for an effective recovery. Thank you, and please reach out if you're interested in our project.
Thank you so much, Eva, and really thank you for bringing the topic of pelvic rehabilitation on the stage. This is one of the topics that when I started to do research, really surprised me. It's really this kind of taboo that no one really wants to start the discussion about urine incontinence. It's not the most pleasant small talk topic, but if we don't understand that the opportunity there is actually huge. So we will moving on to our second pitch, which is all about trying to increase the chances of success for couples that are going through IVF treatments. So I'm very happy to hand over the virtual stage to MIM Fertility.
Hello, good afternoon. This is Felipe Velasquez, advisor to the board of MIM Fertility. And what we do, we use artificial intelligence to help fertility professionals improve the patient outcomes and increase the clinic efficiency. So what happens in in vitro fertilization process is the woman is treated with hormones to increase the number of eggs to be produced. Those eggs are then extracted, put it together with the sperm, form the embryos, and those embryos are put back into the womb of the woman to be pregnant. Now, in that process, there are a number of problems. Number one, the low success rate. It's time-consuming process. It's really expensive. And those 3 points put a lot of burden and emotional burden on the couples. Now, the solution that we have built help clinicians in 2 ways. One, the Foley scan to identify more follicles during that stimulation. Therefore, the more follicles, the more embryos can be produced, and the better the chances of pregnancy. And the other product is the embryo aid where helps the clinicians identify the best embryos to put back into the woman. So these two products together increase pregnancy rate and help the clinicians on the timing that they do their procedures. Now, the business model is cloud-based. It's a subscription model paid by the clinics, depending on the number of cycles, the procedures that they do. So far, 8 clinics are enrolled using our products. We have raised $3.4 million already for this research and development, and we have a letter of intent for more ventures for expansion in Southeast Asia. When it comes to the market, 8 million babies are born every year out of IVF. That accounts around 35 billion market in total. But for these two products specifically, we have calculated kind of a TAM of 375 million. When it comes to the team, we have Pio Vigosci and Pio Zankowski. Both of them are, PhDs in computer science, maths, and physics. And in the business side, we have Ula Zankowska in the part of business. Behind this team, there's a very strong medical and embryologist team that has helped us create these products. And what we hope on MIF Fertility is to help couples realize their dreams of having a baby. Thank you.
Thank you very much, Felipe. So we are moving on from the theme of fertility and hopefully pregnancy to menopause. And what I think is important here is that hopefully for the most cases, the pregnancy is an active choice, whereas menopause, we don't have a choice. If we're lucky enough to live until a certain point, everyone, all women, will have to face it. So I'm really happy to present the next startup that is called ReUmedical. Maybe you've already seen them or heard about them, because they are actually the only Tech4Eva startup that was previously in an early stage batch. But we liked them so much, they made such a great progress, so they are actually back this year in the growth batch. So with that being said, I'm very happy to hand over to ReUmedical to better understand, to better explain for us, to understand how they can help simplify the life for all women that are suffering from hot flashes.
Thank you so much for that introduction. We're very happy to be back here. ReUmedical has a very simple mission to transform menopausal care. Like mentioned before, menopause is something that every single woman in the world will go through. That's almost 1 billion women by the year of 2025. And menopause is essentially the decline of reproductive hormones in women who are aged, above their 40s up until their mid-50s. It's almost always misdiagnosed and misunderstood. Hot flashes are sudden sensations of heat in a woman's body due to hormonal changes, which causes heavy sweating and flushing of skin. This is something that 75% of menopausal women suffer from, and it's the most common symptom of the 34 understood symptoms of menopause itself. Just for a quick stat, just in terms of the number of women affected by this symptom, over 1 million women have left the UK workforce citing reasons of menopause. So we conducted a lot of in-depth research in trying to understand the problem at a grassroots level rather than just in the sense of literature review, where we understood that actually more than 78% of women were affected by hot flashes in their daily life. And almost a majority of the women, more than 50%, were not comfortable discussing menopause in their workplace. So menopause is most commonly managed by hormone replacement therapy, which is a standard pharmaceutical intervention. But it comes with a lot of long-term risks, forcing most women to actually look for alternative solutions. Just looking at another statistic, only approximately 7% of menopausal women in a developed nation like the UK use HRT, while the rest of them really look for alternate solutions. This is where we decided that we want to really create impact and innovation and help women access different alternative solutions for menopausal care and really improving their journey through menopause itself. We've created the soul of our company, which is called Unpause, which is a digital tool which will help women assess their menopausal symptoms, their journey, and also help log and track their menopausal symptoms better. This also comes paired in with the other technologies we're looking to create. The first one is oops. Okay, thank you so much.
Sorry for being so rude, and it's really a pity because what Rue Medical are doing is really worth to have a look at. So what I suggest is that after the session today, you go onto the Tech4Eva website and you just read through what they do, connect with them over LinkedIn, and you can kind of catch up on everything that was planned in this pitch, because it was really, it's really worth to listen to. But we're slowly moving on through the pitches. And as you know from the beginning, I'm leading the innovation team at Coop Mutuel. And as really the business, insurance companies don't like risk. That's just real basic. And for the next pitch, they are also really trying to lowering the risk, but really in high-risk pregnancies. So there we kind of align about trying to take what's risky and making it less risky. So Adira Health, the floor is yours.
Good afternoon. My name is Mary Villalos. I'm the co-founder and CEO of Adira Health, and we are on a mission to make high-risk pregnancy safer. I just got back from Mexico City, where I learned a lot about maternity care. Therefore, let me introduce you to Rosa. Rosa was scared. She was staring at the doctor and could not breathe. She came in to listen to the baby's heartbeat. And now, Dr. Daniel said that she and her baby are not okay. The most beautiful journey in her life just turned into a nightmare and seemed to be slipping away through her fingertips. Now, Rosa is not alone. There are more than 18 million women suffering from high blood pressure during and after pregnancy, leading to maternal death and morbidity for mom and babies. These women lack awareness of signs and symptoms, access to preventative personalized activities and engagement. On the other side, doctors miss important data and have not good tools at hand and really weak gold standards. This is where Adira Health comes in. We provide a double-sided platform for women and their caretakers. Vital data tracking is in there, access to personalized blended mental physical care, and women share data with their caretakers.
Finally, we combine the power of artificial intelligence with a perinatal health coach that navigates all involved parties through this very difficult pregnancy situation. Behind this idea is a strong international dedicated team, and we can count on great supporters, experts, and mental health coaches. I'm super excited to be a part of this fantastic cohort, learn, grow, and excel with all of you, and make a big impact in pregnancy. Now I invite you, second time, to join us in making high-risk pregnancy safer. Thank you very much.
Thank you so much, Mary, and what a way to close up the pitches by really trying to make the pregnancy safer. Next. So we selected 16. All are my favorites, but I will tell you a little secret if you promise to not let it go outside of this stream or this room. The next startup you will hear was a little bit extra my favorite. So I'm really proud to have them selected into the batch, that the rest of the selection jury agree with me that they are really worth the spot. So please give a warm hand of applause for Palpa that are here to simplify the way that women can self-examine their breasts in the shower. So Josefa, the floor is yours.
Thank you for that introduction. Well, my name is Josefa. I'm the founder of Palpa. And Palpa's story started when Jovita, a very close person to me, felt something on her breast, but she kept telling herself it was a fat lump and ignored it. Years later, she was diagnosed with a 4th-stage breast cancer. So here in Chile, 3 out of 10 cases today of this disease are diagnosed in women under the 40 years old, women like me that can have mammograms and can only self-exam. But guess what? Almost none of us make breast self-exam every month. So that is how we invented Palpa, a consumer product that can be used in the shower to train breast self-exam. So this is a breast-shaped device that it is filled with liquid soap, and inside of it, it has the simulation of a tumor. So when you feel this, you can touch the tumor and learn how it is. And at the same time, as you press this and feel the tumor, the soap is released through a massager, so you can massage your body, leave it behind, and then try to find something similar, but in your own breast, and with a better skin sense and sliding over the breast. So Palpa helps and teaches women how to find an anomaly in their own bodies during their shower routine, creating habits since younger age so they can know their bodies and be able to distinguish any changes. Our hybrid revenue model consists in wholesale for companies seeking to do social campaigns in the human resources area, but also the marketing area. Also, we partner with different governments, institutions, so they can reach out women who can't access the product, need their education by their own means. And finally, direct to consumer for all women out there who wants to begin this journey of breast self-care. So since October of 2021, we've reached 75,000 women only here in Chile and partnered with more than 100 companies. 10 women had detected tumors. So we need to reach women all around the world because far beyond a product, it is a change of culture and mind what we are doing. Thank you.
Thank you so much. So we're gonna move on to the US, and we're gonna present you a solution that wants that period products should be as normal in the bathroom as toilet paper or soap. So Egal Pads, the floor is yours.
Okay, so half the world has their period 4,000 days of their lives, and it doesn't always happen at home. 100% of menstruators have been caught without period products away from home. 62% of women have to leave work due to having no period products available. And in the US, 23% of students either don't come to school or leave school due to no period products available. This causes immense anxiety and depression. If products are available, they are in vending machines by the sink. According to 92% of women, these are always jammed, empty, or broken, or they require change. The solution is to treat all bodily functions equally. We have created Pads on a Roll, a patented product that can be installed in bathroom stalls alongside toilet paper. In the US, 22 states have passed laws requiring free period products in middle and high schools. 7 more states will be voting on similar laws this year. Utah just passed a law requiring all state buildings to provide free period products. This is both a period poverty and gender equity issue. We are currently selling our product throughout the US with warehouses in Massachusetts and California. We are additionally doing pilots in Rwanda and about to start pilots in both the EU and the UK. We are so honored to be part of Tech4Eva to help move gender equity one step closer to being a reality. We are excited to find corporate partnerships, meet other innovators, as well as investors during this program. Thank you so much for your time.
Thank you very much. And we're standing here on this side thinking like, isn't it a little bit late to get these solutions now? I mean, better late than never, but it has taken humanity such a long time to come up with such a basic product that a lot of us needs on a regular basis. I mean, but yeah, let's better start today. So we will move on now to the next pitch that is about how to better restore women's reproductive and metabolic health. So Nerora, please start your pitch.
Hello everyone. Polycystic ovary syndrome, PCOS. It affects more than 10% of women in the world. It is the leading cause of infertility and comes with a significant list of long-term health effects, including the fact that 10% of these patients are developing diabetes 2 by the age of 40. As of today, there are no real solutions to cure this condition. And we often say that if it was a men's problem, we will probably already have found a treatment, probably decades ago as well. My name is Pierre Vedenès. I'm the Chief Product Officer of Neura. Together with my CEO, Claire Dixon, who unfortunately couldn't join us today, we are on a mission to change the way we see and treat one of the most common and underfunded women's health condition. At Neura, we developed a non-invasive electrostimulation device called Loop that is targeting one of the main metabolic pathways behind symptoms of PCOS. We use a proprietary microneedle electrode to stimulate the lower abdominal area with a very specific stimulation protocol in order to positively impact insulin levels over time. And yes, this is therefore also opening numerous opportunities in the field of diabetes. Our team already confirmed our regulatory route with the FDA, and our goal is to reach market by 2024. We generated significant commercial traction with partners using our technology for other indications, as well as deep conversation with a large distribution partner to pre-purchase our Loop device before market reach. With the accelerated momentum we are experiencing, we are looking for more partners to join and support our journey. Please reach out, and thank you for having us here as part of this incredible ecosystem. Thank you.
Thank you, Noara, and thank you for being part of the accelerator. So yeah, let's kind of start to wrap up the day. So we started out with a keynote from Luca La Porta and Valerie Hepp, where they gave really the Roche perspective on that the whole women's health cause. It's too complicated to do alone, so we better cooperate, we better work together, we better partner. And then it was Lan.
Yeah, the program. So all the application, the different solution that exists, and that we need to support as us as a support organization, but also working with all the stakeholders involved into the health ecosystem. So of course, the pharma industry, the healthcare service providers, insurance companies, like everybody should be really involved into this change.
Yeah, really everyone. And I mean, there we kind of join again with the keynote from WHO that the challenges are just too big, and what they are doing is really relying on strong collaborations all around the globe.
Yeah.
And then we also had the panel discussion where we were told that insurance companies are boring, which we also learned is not really true. I mean, actually, we are kind of setting up the financial structure to be able to deliver the high-quality healthcare that we all want to have access to when we get sick. And last but not least, I mean, our favorite part, all the pitches.
Yeah. Yeah, all the solutions, 16, and what you have seen is just the top of the iceberg, but there is so many others. So yeah, you can also go deeper and try to if you have an idea also, you can just start to launch today. It's never too late, as you mentioned. So yeah, that's the time to make the changes for sure.
Yes, please contact us. I mean, contact me, contact Johannes, contact the Tech4Eva crew. Here you will have the website, the social media links, etc. I mean, we're also searchable on LinkedIn. But again, as we started out this event, Tech4Eva started just like an idea about 3 years ago, and we're here. So if there is one key takeaway message that I just want to send to each and every one of you here in the room is that during the networking drinks that are awaiting us soon, share those ideas. Because if we find the right team, if we find the right circle, we can really move mountains. And that I don't say just because I'm from Vale, but it's really the case. We will close off the whole day as we started with having Gabby from the Innovation Lab here in Roche saying a few final words. And I would also like to remind that after he's been done, everyone that are a selected startup, an alumni, mentor, etc., please come on the stage and we will make a group picture all together. So we can look back and say it was at this day the success from ahead started.
I also want to thank Roche, of course, for hosting us today, all the Roche employees that attended this event. The startups, I advise you just to take the most, all the benefits from the program, either the coaching, the mentoring, the partners, the network, everything. And yeah, don't forget to tag us on the social media. You can tag Tech4Eva, hashtag Tech4Eva on LinkedIn and everything. And yeah, we can hand over to Gabby from the InnoLab from Roche.
Thank you very much. Thank you all the partners. It's not the end, it's just the beginning. So thank you so much, and I look forward to continue the conversation out there. Gabby, the floor is yours.
Thank you, Anna and Johannes. Wow. With all this, we reached the end of the Tech4Eva opening ceremony and of the Home for IT, which is the encapsulating event. And I think, you know, with all the insights, the collaborations, and the technologies that were presented today, really give us a chance to peek into the future, and it's a promising future, especially in the area of women's health. We are saying goodbye now to the audience at home, so thank you so much for joining and for tuning in. We hope to have you back with us very soon. For the audience here on site, as you heard earlier, there is a networking event. For those of you who joined for Tech4Eva specifically, we wait for you outside in the foyer for networking and for drinks, so please stay around. For the Roche people, the Home for IT Better Together continues in the atrium of Building 255 with the InnoLab birthday party, so see you there. And before we put an end to all this, I want to say a few thank yous. Thank you to Iker and thank you to Simone for coordinating this event. Thank you to Nevena and the event management team for putting up with us once again. Thank you to Sarah and to Francisco for driving Home for IT Better Together forward. And of course, to all the speakers, panelists, and you, the audience, for being with us today. So another big round of applause for you. Don't forget to stay for the picture, as Anna mentioned. And yeah, enjoy the social event. Thank you.